Oh, look, there it is. We're here. We're live. Miami Total Fútbol Radio. I don't know if we can call it a radio anymore since it's now, I don't know, TV. I don't know if it's show. I don't know what we call it, streaming. Anyway, it's myself, Franco Penizo, and Jose Armando here in the house. I know there's already been some requests for Ajicita, aka Andrea Yanis, but she's missing in action for this one. This is our test run, so bear with us as we work through this. I actually had some lighting issues here, but my background doesn't look as nice as Jose's, but we're working on it. We're working. I need the pink trophy.
I feel like I have to explain my background, so give me a minute when you're ready.
No, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
No, because I know people are gonna start thinking I'm, a fan of every single, scarf I have behind me. But the story is, every single scarf that's behind me, I've been getting throughout our career here in South Florida. Some, I think, yeah, all of them in South Florida. When Miami FC days, the Strikers days, when Real Madrid comes over, when Bayern comes over. I think there's a couple of CONCACAF, yes. Oh, and Oakland Roots.
There's no Inter Miami, though, brother. There's no Inter Miami.
They don't give us. It makes sense for Inter Miami not to give out scarves, but, I guess I need one. I need one so that I can add it to that collection. So that's the story.
I'm pretty sure Inter Miami gave us a La Palma jersey in 2021.
Jersey, yes.
But do you see jerseys behind me? I've got a jersey back here.
You see jerseys behind me? No, there's no jerseys behind me.
Nah.
So,
well,
but
guys,
that's the story.
Give Jose some steak. Give Jose some steak because I see Miami FC, I see Miami City, but I don't see Inter Miami. And this is
the Strikers. There's the Strikers as well.
There's the Strikers as well. I do see those Strikers.
Yeah. Well, I'm a South Florida guy, so that's why there's no Miami United scarf, Miami Fusion, the old and the new. So there are quite a few, scarves missing over there.
There it is, and it begins. The first ever comment on Miami Total Fútbol Radio, the show, is accusation of Jose being a Miami FC fan.
That's why I needed to explain things. First thing I did in the video pod, I needed to explain things. So there you go. There you have the explanation. Please make sure we get a clip of this.
Absolutely. Jose does have a cool background. I will absolutely acknowledge that. Jose's ready for this. This is all new to me. I was a writer that transitioned into doing podcasting, was now trying to do some video, so bear with me as I get my feet under me. This is my preseason here. But we've got plenty to talk about like we do every week and like we do on the podcast. We're going to talk, of course, mostly about Wednesday night's match between Inter Miami and Orlando City, the two Florida rivals. It's a big match. Inter Miami's on a roll now, a little bit of a roll, gaining some momentum, gaining some rhythm in a knockout round game against the arch rival, which there's some backstory to that if you want to throw in what happened with the fans in recent days. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the matchup. Of course, we'll talk about some of the recent signings that were officially made, as well as, of course, one of the biggest talking points, which is Jordi Alba and his availability. We'll have some pieces from today's press conference to share with you guys and share our thoughts as to whether Jordi Alba partakes in tomorrow's game. So, Jose, where do you want to begin? Where would you like to start this? Should we start with Messi? Where should we start this Miami Total Fútbol Radio TV show or show?
Yeah, I think we can start. Messi is always a good start. Yeah, I think in the last few days, we kind of I don't want to say we went back to normal. In terms of the media attention, because there's still more people around, but it seems like we're getting closer to what it is going to be like. Because Orlando City is not that big a matchup outside of Florida, outside of the MLS landscape. And most of the people that were covering the team before, they came over because of Messi and, the first couple of games. But now it seems like, we're getting ready to to what is going to be like for the next few months until the season is over. Who knows what's going to happen next year? But I don't know. Yeah, I think we should start with Messi.
Actually, let's start with the match, and then we'll dive into Messi, because Messi's obviously the star of the show.
All right.
Let's talk about the game. The game is at 8 p.m. That was announced on Monday night, if I'm not mistaken. The kickoff time was officially announced on Monday night. So 8 p.m. kickoff at DraftKings Stadium in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Inter Miami hosts Orlando City in what I dub the Sunshine Clasico, El Clasico del Sol. Now,
I have another one.
what do you have?
El Clásico del Turnpike.
El Clásico del Turnpike. Bro, Turnpike goes all the way up to New Jersey and New York.
Yeah, I didn't say it was perfect or it was great. I just have another one. That's it. There's several versions.
I don't know if I like that one. I mean, we should. How do you do the banner thing here, Jose, that you were teaching me? We should throw it up there for the people to comment on. Because I don't know if I like it. I mean, Turnpike can be for anything. You go to Georgia on the Turnpike and North Carolina on the Turnpike. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm talking.
Okay, let's
nonsense.
Scratch it.
But focusing on the game. I mean, before we get into the individuals, which we'll start with this guy. I gotta get used to this. This guy right here. We'll get there in a second. Is Inter Miami the favorite going into this one? I mean, they're at home and they're on a roll now, right? Are they the favorite? Good question, man. I think it's a fair question to ask at this point, right? Because Inter Miami's not used to being the favorite in almost any match this season, and yet after a 4-0 win against Atlanta United and then a 2-1 victory over Cruz Azul to start the tournament, Inter Miami looking pretty good right now.
I think they're looking good. I think it's going to take some time for MLS teams to figure out how to defend Inter Miami. And that's the one thing that makes me think they are favorites for tomorrow, although, we shouldn't be impressed if Oscar Pareja finds a way because he's a very good coach. I like him a lot. I don't know if you do, but I think he's a very good coach.
I think he's a good coach, a good MLS coach.
Yeah, so I don't think they are overwhelming favorites, but I think they are favorites tomorrow, especially playing at home. Obviously, the weather's not going to be that big a factor, because Orlando they are used to the heat. So, but I do agree that they are favorites for tomorrow.
I would agree. I think that they go into this one with some momentum. They'll be the team that, because they're at home, because they'll have the home crowd behind, they'll be looking to dictate the tempo, put the game on their terms, especially with Messi and Busquets, which will lead to some interesting tactical wrinkles. I'm very curious to see how Oscar Pareja approaches this game. Is he going to have Orlando sit off? Is he going to have them press? I mean, Atlanta United tried to press at times and they got killed. But they also let Sergio Busquets operate from the midfield with little pressure. I mean, I imagine that changes tomorrow. I think Orlando City will try to cut off the supply line for Messi. We talked to a few players today at practice, David Ruiz and Sergio Christoph, and we talked about their roles and responsibilities with the ball and how they will try to build out and is finding Busquets, the option A, option one. And they said that there are other ways to get the ball forward and to find Messi and things of that nature. But practice is one thing. In game's another thing. So be curious to see how it works. I definitely don't see Sergio Busquets having as much time on the ball tomorrow as he did against Atlanta United. I mean, I think you agree with me based on your.
Yeah, I think that's where you start. If you want to stop Inter Miami, you don't think about Messi first. You have to think about Busquets because Busquets is that connection between the back line and the forwards. He's the main guy. Dixon Arroyo, I remember we had the conversation when he just signed with the team, and I told you I don't like him with the ball. I don't think he's very good with the ball. I think he's a very good defender. He can do a lot of things. He can cover a lot of ground, but he's not very good with the ball. Well, obviously, Sergio Busquets is very good with the ball. And I think that's where you start. I would say this. I think it's going to be important for Inter Miami to take an early lead. If not early, I think it would be very important for Inter Miami to at least have the lead by halftime. Because if we get to the point where it's the 70th minute mark and we're still scoreless or tied, then I think, things might change. And I would say if Messi's tired, if Busquets is tired, and Orlando City, they're doing just fine physically within the game, which they should be better physically than Messi and Busquets, then they might have an advantage at that point.
So that's an interesting point, because I feel like you've said that, and people who have listened to the podcast will probably have heard you say at some point or another that you think the key to the game is Inter Miami scoring early. I've heard that from you before, but I agree with the overall analysis that the longer the game goes on, the more favorable it is for Orlando City, right? Because then, you're going to get Messi. He's going to get fatigued. He's going to get tired at some point. Busquets is as well. And then the nerves start to creep in a little bit more the longer the game goes on and it's 0-0. So I think Inter Miami is going to have the ball. They're going to have the, no pun intended, lion's share of possession. And it's just about being as clinical and as good with the ball as they have been since Messi and Busquets stepped onto the field for the first time. If they can knock the ball around, if they can circulate, if they can create chances, I think, Inter Miami will have a great night, another fun, festive night at Drag Pink Stadium that the fans will love, especially against the arch rival. So if the game doesn't play out that way, if Orlando City is able to stifle Inter Miami's attack and keep Messi at bay and limit how many touches Busquets gets on the ball cleanly and without pressure, then it could be a tougher match for Inter Miami. And then that's when Tata Martino will probably have to make some adjustments. I'm very curious to see the tactical matchup tomorrow. It's a battle of two smart head coaches in Major League Soccer, two guys who are very tactically astute. I think I would give Tata the edge over Oscar Pareja. I mean, I don't know if I guess that's not going out on a limb or anything there, but curious to see how it all plays out. Inter Miami, again, it's a different role for them. It's a different type of scenario than they've had. And I'm curious to see how some of the younger players who are likely to take part in the game do with that responsibility and do with that role.
Yeah, the one concern for me is that once Messi and Busquets are not as effective, then you don't have a lot of options if you're Tata Martino. So you basically have to plan a 60-minute game where you have to find a way to take the lead, and then rely on David Ruiz and some other defensive players that might be able to come on. Victor Ulloa, we saw him coming on in the last game.
We did.
So you're going to have to rely on those guys to close things out. I think if you're Inter Miami right now, you need to find a closer. You need to find a way to finish the game once you have the lead. So I don't know if they're going to if that's as easy as we're saying it right now. It's hard because it's an elimination game. And I'm sure Orlando, they have the motivation to win against Messi, which, by the way, is something that, I think I at least I didn't get the sense of, okay, so Atlanta United came over and it did seem like it was just a regular game for them. And I honestly thought I was one of the people that thought, well, every MLS team or any team from any league will come and play Inter Miami and they will want to win that game. And to me, it was very surprising that Gonzalo Pineda and his players, they were just, careless at times. So I don't expect that from Orlando.
Well, I mean, how did Orlando City even get to this point, right? How did this game come about? Because they advanced off of a stoppage time goal, a last-minute goal of their own in the last round, and it came from a Peruvian. Wilder Cartagena, scoring a rare goal for him, but a big goal for him. And, the scenes were electric at Exploria Stadium. And, they'll come in feeling good about themselves and their chances. They're going to look to play spoiler. I'm not sure how many Orlando City fans are making the trip down. Hopefully, if there are some, it just stays on the field and, the chanting and the banter back and forth, because obviously there was an incident not too long ago in which, Vice City, one of the Inter Miami supporters groups, had their Vice City / Leo Messi Bienvenida mural painted over with purple paint. Now, everyone assumes, maybe rightfully or not rightfully so, but everyone assumes that it was Orlando City fans because of the color. Obviously, soccer rivalry. Orlando City fans have since, at first you saw some people saying, well, how do you know it was us? There's nothing that says it was us, blah, blah, blah. But now you've seen some shirts come out, I think today, of like Vice City's logo and some purple paint over it, like, mimicking what we saw on that mural, which was fixed and was repaired, thankfully for Vice City, because obviously, don't want to see a nice mural get destroyed and defaced by painting. Like, I get putting a sticker on something, like, trying to be like, all right, this is, we were here type of thing. But to like put paint and try to, vandalize it, I think that's a step too far. Now, of course, there's no video saying it was an Orlando City fan. There's no way for us to prove it was an Orlando City fan. But I mean, that's what all fingers would point to at this point. But anyway,
it's not that unusual though. I've seen worse things, like all over the world. I think we've seen worse. But I think if this really is a rivalry for Orlando City fans, they would travel. I think that's a big test tomorrow, because if you really think about it, international competition, elimination game. I get it. Open Cup at times it's a hard sell. The league, MLS, talking about MLS, they don't like the tournament a lot, so they don't put as much. They don't want to put as much attention into it. So this is different, and this is an international competition. A spot in the CONCACAF Champions League is on the line. It's a 3-hour drive. You're playing against Messi and Busquets. If you don't travel for this game, then I don't know if we can call this a rivalry, to be honest.
It's a midweek match, though. It's tough, man. People work the next day. But I imagine there will be some people that are going to make the drive down, especially to see Messi and try to be.
Again, I'm not saying 10,000 fans should come. I'm not saying 10,000 fans, which it could happen in some other place. But I think if this is a rivalry, I need to see a lot of purple tomorrow. If not, then.
But how much is a hold on? See. I'm trying to play nice here because it's our first time doing video, Jose, and I'm trying to not come at you. But what does a lot of fans mean on a Wednesday night? What does that mean? What is a lot?
I would say over 2,000. Over 2,000 Orlando City fans need to show up tomorrow.
All right, I'm looking forward to sitting next to you in the press box tomorrow and seeing you count 1, 2, 3. I want to see you count this all out loud because I don't know how you're going to just guess if there's 2,000 people or not for Orlando City.
No, I mean we can take a healthy guess. I mean now that we have live comments, so next Thursday when we're back on, we'll ask people and then we'll make a decision on whether there were 2,000. I doubt it. To be honest, I doubt it. But I would say that's a number. They need to move over the 2,000 fans mark to make me believe at least that this is a rivalry. If not, then it's just social media, and that makes nothing. It doesn't move the needle for me.
Jose, listen. If that's probably the one negative about this game is that it's midweek. Because if it was on the weekend and Orlando fans could plan for it and could make the drive down and plan a whole weekend around it, then I think you get a much bigger turnout and it's a much bigger spectacle.
I don't know, Franco. I've seen you travel from Miami to South America to watch the Peruvian national team.
That's me, though. That's me.
Right.
I plan everything around that.
If this is a rivalry in Orlando City, if they do have fans that care about this rivalry, then I'm guessing, how many people can Exploria? I think in Exploria, is it 25,000 on Exploria? Is that the capacity?
I think a little less.
So
something around there.
Out of the entire pool of Orlando City fans, I would say you just need to find me 2,000 Franco Panizos and have them travel. That's it. I mean, if you have more than 25,000 fans, then I think you can do that.
I don't expect 2,000 Orlando City fans.
No, I don't. But they should. If it's a rivalry and if it's a solid fan base, then I think
it's definitely listen. There's gonna be criticism.
I would think Inter Miami fans.
It's just hard to
Miami fans will travel to Orlando if Messi was playing for Orlando City.
That's a whole different talking point, though. That's a whole different talking point.
Well, I'm just saying, they need to travel.
I think they will.
3 hours. 3 hours.
3 hours, right? Each way, so 6 hours.
Oh, obviously.
It's a weeknight.
Just trying to find excuses, and I don't know.
I'm not trying to find excuses. I'm just telling you, I don't think you can realistically expect 2,000 Orlando City fans tomorrow. If they turned up with 2,000, that'd make for a great atmosphere, an even better atmosphere. But I don't think that's realistic. So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. We'll agree to disagree. Maybe we'll ask the people what they think. Do you think 2,000 is a realistic number for Orlando City? Has Orlando City ever had 2,000 people at a Drive Pink Stadium at a game for?
Well, this is different. This is different. Again, international competition, elimination game, Messi. I mean, that's enough, man. I would travel. If it's 3 hours, I mean, I would travel. There's no doubt about it. No doubt in my mind.
There's definitely diehard fans. There's definitely fanáticos.
Yes.
But I don't think that they're yet the...
You don't think Orlando City, they don't have 2,000 diehard fans that would travel?
I think they have diehard fans. I just don't know if on a midweek game, you're going to be able to get that turnout.
Stop finding excuses.
Let's go. Let's get back to the field.
Yes.
We'll start with Messi. I keep doing it wrong. It's this guy. I'm going to get the pink jersey. I'm going to put it over here. But I still haven't been able to find the authentic pink one in the appropriate size for the wall. So that might be a while. But anyway, can we expect him to stay playing at this high level where he's scoring goals, dishing out assists, setting up Robert Taylor? Right? I mean, is that what we can expect from Messi tomorrow? He's had another few days to get his legs under him, to get even more fit. Last week we saw a very rare sighting, and I wish I would have uploaded the video here for us to see, or for us to show, of him asking for the substitution. Because it's rare. Now we get it. He's coming from vacation. He's been on break. He's even played, and he's played a good bit, but he's not there yet. He's not 90 minutes fit. So can we expect him to dominate proceedings like we've seen in the first game and change?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's Messi. Yeah, you need to expect that from him. There's a reason why he won the World Cup. He's the best player in the world. Yes, I mean, we should expect him to dominate Orlando City. Now, he's every now and then he's going to have a bad game. It's going to happen. If that happens tomorrow, then so be it. But, the expectation should always be for him to be successful every single time he steps on an MLS pitch. So I wouldn't expect anything less. And I haven't seen anything from Orlando City that would lead me to believe that they can stop him. So going back to what I said earlier, if Oscar Pareja finds a way to do it, then all credit to him. But I would expect Messi to dominate tomorrow. Again, and again, let me say this one more time. I think the game for Inter Miami tomorrow is not 90 minutes. It's 60 minutes. They need to win it in 60 minutes.
Listen, I'm not. I would put more money on Messi having a good game than having an off night. But I think Oscar Pareja he's not gonna have the same game plan that Gonzalo Pineda had, which was a disaster, right? You put a lot of it down to coaching when we did the podcast last week. And you were very concerned about the defending and just the overall approach. I don't think Messi is going to be given the same type of space. I don't think Busquets is going to be given the same type of space. And then what I think Orlando City is going to do is going to try to make the other pieces beat Inter Miami, right? Like try to have Robert Taylor beat you. Have Josef Martinez try to beat you. And listen, Josef Martinez has history with Orlando City, which we'll touch on in a moment, but I think Orlando City is going to do whatever they can. Now, listen, you can plan to try to stop Messi, and you might still not be able to stop Messi. But I think Oscar Pareja is astute enough to realize what his limitations are. There's a little more footage now as to how Inter Miami plays with both Messi and Busquets. So there's a little more to plan for and prepare for and to analyze, observe, and study. I could see Orlando City coming out with a very smart game plan. It's up to Messi, it's up to Busquets, and the rest of the starting lineup to, put the game on their terms and make sure that they take full advantage of the opportunities in front of them, the chances that they have. If they start struggling, if they start missing some passes and the frustration starts to settle in, then I think that might turn the tide for Orlando. But if Inter Miami can play and knock the ball around and have that same type of confidence that we've seen from them in this game and change that Messi and Busquets have been on the field, then I think that they can run away with this one. I think they could win this one big, but it's a matter of
I don't know.
losing.
Can they win it big? I don't know if they can win it big, man.
Why not?
Because I think.
Wait, come on. Let me ask you this: what type of game plan do you expect from Orlando City? Right? Do you expect them to sit back, like give Inter Miami the ball? I don't expect Orlando City to come out blow for blow, 2-2. No, I don't see them trying to go punch for punch with Inter Miami. Right?
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're going to be here to play the game. They're going to want to play the game. My concern is that they don't have enough to stop Messi. They just don't have enough. And again, this is a situation where, I would feel a lot more comfortable if Tata finally decides to play Campana and not Josef. But I don't think that's I don't think that's going to happen. I understand that. But I think Orlando, they're going to come here and play the game. If they lay back and, that's running into trouble, because that means Messi's going to have the ball a lot more. So I think they're going to try to defend with the ball. I don't know if there would be concern about winning the possession battle, because I think that's going to be something very hard to do against Inter Miami, since, they're playing a very Barca-like tiki-taka type of football. So I think Inter Miami will most likely win the possession battle, but they want to keep them. Orlando wants to keep them as far as possible from the box. So I think they're going to play their game. I trust Pareja, but I don't. That's why I don't see it. I don't see Inter Miami winning this game easily. I think it's going to be tight.
I would disagree with you. I can't see them coming out trying to try to. I mean, you're not saying they're going blow for blow, but just try to at least play a bit. I just don't see that, man. I don't see that, because then that leaves in the spaces behind, and the spaces.
They don't have pace. Inter Miami, they don't have pace at all.
But it's still
you can leave all the space behind, and that doesn't matter, because who's going to run behind?
Did you not see the goal? Did you not see Messi's first goal against Atlanta United? Did you forget about that one?
That's a rarity.
That's not a rarity. If you come out and look to play and try to, how do some people label it? The line of confrontation, right? If you have your team and your block higher up the field, that leaves spaces in behind. That's just natural. I can't see them playing that way. I could hear you say maybe they play in a mid block. Okay, but I'm not saying they're going to park the bus outright. But I don't see them trying to go toe to toe with Inter Miami. I think they will let Inter Miami have the ball and try to stay compact and organized. And then when they win the ball back, try to hit on the counter, try to win on set pieces. Inter Miami's not very good at defending set pieces. So, I mean, that could absolutely be the game plan. Just stay compact, stay organized, stay in your shape, and let's be opportunistic at the other end. I can see that being Orlando City's game.
Do you think...
that doesn't mean park the bus. That does not mean they're going to sit there and just have 11 men hanging off the crossbar.
Would you give Messi the ball? Like, would you be okay by saying, okay, I'm just going to lay back and I'm going to leave Messi the ball? Would you do that? Do you think that's a smart decision to give Messi the ball and have him make decisions, and you just wait for him? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's crazy to me to think that I'm going to try to win a game and I'm going to give Messi the ball. It's hard for me to figure that out.
Yes, Messi's capable of creating magic 1-on-1, 1-on-3, but numerically, from a numerical advantage standpoint, would you rather have more numbers around Messi or less numbers around Messi? You'd rather have more, right? That gives you a better chance of stopping him or slowing down at least.
I would rather keep the ball away from him.
But by doing that, you risk leaving spaces in behind if he does get it. I think they're going to play defensive. I think there'll be a defensive-minded game plan. Again, that does not mean they're parking the bus. Just make that clear. But I think that they will be defensive-minded tomorrow. And I think that gives Messi, yes, if Messi's as brilliant as we know he can be, Inter Miami wins this one easily. And if Inter Miami struggles, they can't find the spaces, or the other teammates can't find the openings, or they can't capitalize and they can't finish, then I think then you could be in trouble if you're Inter Miami.
Well, let me tell you, Leagues Cup really likes your idea. They're going to get a lot of highlights. They're going to get Inter Miami moving on to the next round. They're going to be very happy. So they're expecting that Oscar Pareja is listening to this and writing notes about your ideas. Because if
I don't think he should write down my idea.
If they do it, they are eliminated. I have no doubt in my mind. They need to play the game. They need to play the game.
If they get blown out 4-0, then that's a wise approach.
I mean, if you go out with that mentality and Messi scores 2 in the first 20 minutes, then what? Then you become an aggressive team. Then you go out and try to score an Inter Miami.
Jose. We're already going to have our first back and forth here. The game plan isn't going to be, all right, we're going to defend and then Messi scores 2. Well, like that's obviously not the point. That's not the point of the game plan.
But that could happen if you give him the ball.
Sure, it could happen. Or
give him the ball, that's most likely going to happen.
Or the opposite could happen, that they don't score. Right? Like
it's Messi against an MLS team.
Jose, listen, I liked his game. I loved the first game. I gave him a 9.5 out of 10 on Miami Total Football Substack against Cruz Azul for his 36-minute cameo and such, or 41 if you want to count the stoppage time. Did he have many clear-cut chances to score?
In the first game?
Yes, against Cruz Azul. Did Messi have a lot of clear-cut chances to score?
No, but he did create a lot for the rest of the team.
He played in some good through balls. Yes. Yeah. And that's my point. So if the team doesn't capitalize, if the team can't make the most of the magic he can provide.
Big if.
But I think that's what Orlando City's going to bank on, is force the other players to beat you. Don't let Messi beat you.
And but what if he scores? What if it doesn't work in the first half an hour?
Well, then the game plan didn't work. Then the game plan didn't work.
So you gave the game away without trying.
I could say the same thing about the other way, right? If they come out and attack, and because they came out and attacked, they left spaces in behind, and then
you continue to attack. They score on you. You continue to attack. You have the same mentality.
Messi scores a hat trick in 15 minutes, and then what? Then you
continue to attack.
Jose,
it's a lot easier to have one goal to win the game, be aggressive from the get-go. If they score on you, you keep it the same. If you're defensive minded and they score on you in the first 15 minutes, then you have to change the whole thing to find a way to become an aggressive team.
Jose, I get your philosophical. I get your philosophical foundation and base, and you think teams should attack, and I agree with you. But if you're putting yourself in Oscar Pareja's shoes, I don't see them coming out and attacking at Drive Pink Stadium with La Familia in attendance, pushing the team.
Come on.
I just don't see that. I don't see that.
It's not Shakhtar Donetsk. I mean, Drive Pink Stadium and La Familia, it's not that. I mean, it's an MLS stadium. It's not that big a deal. It's not. There's not that much pressure.
You still get pushed on by the home crowd. You still feel that on the field. You still have that momentum going in your favor. Listen, we'll see how the game goes tomorrow. I'm willing to bet that they don't come out to try to play blow for blow. But let's see what happens. Now let's talk about one player, because we've seen him. He arrived. Jordi Alba is officially in South Florida. He has officially trained with Inter Miami. We got to see a piece of him today in practice in a very fun but interesting 15 minutes of practice that were open to the media, with some handball / water polo on grass. The team was having fun with it. I imagine it was to let loose, keep spirits high and fun on a positive, since they're not going to have all that much time to prepare for the opponent in terms of on the field. So it's just keeping the legs going, but also keeping the spirits high. I mean, that's what I took away from what we saw today. I don't know if you have any other point or anything else you want to add. Probably mention David Ruiz's goal because he's Honduran like you. But
I got it on video. That was the best part.
I saw your tweet. That's why I brought it up. So
yeah, I got it on video. So go to my Twitter and watch it. It's un golazo. I thought it was just way too relaxed. What we saw, it was not concerning, but I don't like those type of training sessions. I like to see intensity. I like to see coaches yelling. I like to see players running up and down. As much as it's nice to see them smiling and being happy and enjoying practice, I like to see the grind, and I didn't see that. But I'm not saying that that didn't happen, because obviously we're only allowed to watch the first 15 minutes. So I just thought it was okay. I saw Messi. I didn't see him with the same energy that I saw him in previous training sessions that we have been allowed to watch.
You think that was because of the drill, or do you think something else?
I think he was grabbing, his abductor. So I don't know if there's something with it. We've seen that before.
About that. We did get a question about that here a few times. Let me see if I can pull it up. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, we've seen that before throughout his career. It's something that happens with him, and usually he doesn't make a big deal of it. So I'm not that concerned. I think he'll play, but I just didn't like the fact that I didn't see that much energy from the 15 minutes that we saw this morning.
And we can only base it off 15 minutes because that's all we're
right,
allowed to
yeah.
see. So yes, we will analyze and dive deep into what we actually can see, because it's what we can base our observations off of. Otherwise, it's just supposition and sensations, which is also part of the program. But we try to bring you obviously our insight to what we see at training. Listen, again, I think it's just to keep things light, keep things in a positive manner ahead of tomorrow's game. It's a big game. I'm sure once we were removed, actually, we got removed, guys. Viewers, I can say listeners, viewers, we got removed right as they were at Gol Gana. They were playing the handball game, and I think it was 2-2, and they were like, Gol Gana, next one wins. And that's when we got removed, and we didn't get to find out which team won. But I imagine after we were removed and after the goal was scored, whoever scored it, that they got a little more tactical, a little more focused on the game plan against Orlando City.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And you're not going to have a very intense session the day before you play, right? So you're not going to have a very intense session. Jose, if those first
you might not have a long session, but intensity should always be there.
I think you probably had more of a walkthrough, some passing, but I don't think they went and were like, all right, we're going to push. How hot was it this morning, man? How hot has it been at these training sessions? I mean, you think they're really pushing them hard on a Tuesday morning before a Wednesday night game? I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
But I don't think the coaching staff went out and, just told them, relax, don't do enough, don't do a lot. Just, give us 50%, 60%. And then tomorrow give us 100%. I don't see that happening. I think you just always need to go out and, have the intensity. You can, as I've interviewed several soccer players, and, they always talk about having the same mentality, whether you're playing an official competition, friendlies, or training. Just have the same mentality. And I think that's the right approach. So personally, I didn't like the energy. But then again, we only watched 15 minutes. So maybe that changed after we left.
I didn't mind it. Let's go back to the main point, which was Jordi Alba being present at this training session and being here for the last couple of days. It's unclear whether he plays tomorrow night, whether he starts, whether he's in uniform, whether he makes the roster or the game day roster at all. I asked Tata Martino about that today. We will share a snippet from the press conference, a decent snippet, the actual full response from both Jordi and Tata. It is fully in Spanish. We will do our best to summarize afterwards, but let's play that here for you guys. This is what Jordi Alba and Tata Martino said about how Jordi's feeling physically and what his role could be on Wednesday night against Orlando City.
Y yo voy a contestar después que él, así que...
Está bien.
No, bien. Creo que he entrenado bastante bien. Ahí en Barcelona estuve muchos días. Es verdad que no es fácil entrenar solo, pero bueno, ya me puse en contacto con los profes de aquí, del Inter de Miami, y bueno, me lo hicieron muy fácil. Trabajé duro para poder competir ya cuando llegas aquí y bueno, tenía ganas de entrenar con mis compañeros, de saber cómo eran personalmente. Me han recibido espectacular. La verdad que soy muy feliz de estar aquí. Y bien, físicamente me encuentro bien, ¿no? Seguro que con el paso de las semanas pues me encontraré mucho mejor, pero bueno, es un cambio climático importante, pero me siento bien, con fuerza, con energía, sobre todo con mucha ilusión, que eso al final mentalmente es lo mejor que te da para poder estar feliz y competir bien y bien, físicamente me encuentro bien.
Es cierto, Jordi ha trabajado desde hace aproximadamente 15 días en Barcelona, comunicándose permanentemente tanto con Rodolfo como con Manuel, los profes del Inter. Ha llegado en buenas condiciones, pero bueno, su llegada ha sido el día domingo, ha trabajado tanto el domingo como el lunes como hoy. Seguramente mañana definiremos, va a estar contemplado dentro del grupo de futbolistas que estarán a disposición para enfrentar a Orlando. Mañana resolveremos en qué situación.
Gracias.
Sí.
So, summarizing that, because it's a lengthy translation if we try to do it word for word. I mean, Tata says he's in consideration for the match day roster. Right? He doesn't confirm that he's going to start. He doesn't confirm that he's going to play. You made an astute observation after the press conference was over when we talked about this briefly, in that there's not like people are dependent or waiting to see if Jordi Alba is going to play to buy tickets, right? Like it's not like with Messi and Busquets when they were on the brink of making their debuts. People were hinging on whether they were playing or not, whether to attend the game. I don't think that's largely the case for Jordi Alba, as good of a player as he is, as great of a player as he is. So I think Tata was a little more conservative there in the response. I mean, what do you think? Do you think, based on what they said, and again, if you can summarize a little bit more of what they said there, Jordi said he feels fine physically, but with more time, he surely will feel better. He did touch on the weather being a bit different and a bit more of a challenge. What do you think, Jose? Just reading between the lines, interpreting it from your seat, from your two eyes and your two ears, what do you think? Does Jordi Alba dress tomorrow? Does he start? Does he play? What is his role against Orlando City?
Yeah, I think he'll be in the roster. He'll be available for tomorrow. But I can only see him play 10 minutes, towards the end. Thankfully for Tata, this is not a situation where if the match is tied, there will be no extra time. There will be an extra 30 minutes to play. So I would say he plays 10, 15 minutes max. And, he'll be a good choice for a penalty if needed. So I think he plays in the second half. Obviously, I don't think starting, I don't think that's not even part of the equation at this point. So most likely he will start then.
So we agree this time because, well, I don't agree with that, but we agree. I think his role will be coming off the bench. I think he'll be in uniform.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's been training in Barcelona on his own and with a trainer over there. He's had a fitness plan and program that Inter Miami has given him. So he's been working on that. I think Tata Martino said 14 days, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been doing work. It's not like he's just coming from inactivity. But like Jordi says in that clip there, training on your own is not the same as training with the team and playing games. So I agree with you, 10, 15-minute cameo off the bench late on to either give Inter Miami a boost in the attack or to just help shore things up defensively. Either way, I think he does make his debut. I just don't think it'll be a lengthy camp. I think they're going to work him a little bit more patiently. Right? The team, listen, it's probably a big drop-off from Jordi Alba to, no Allen, right? But I think Busquets and Messi, because of what they bring to the attack and the creativity that you need, I think they needed to play a bit more than maybe they were ready earlier than the time plan or the timeline is for Jordi Alba. There is a question there later on once he does get fit. He's going to slide into the starting lineup, and then that means no Allen moves out. Busquets has come in, David Ruiz is coming out. I mean, what's going to happen to these younger players as these more veteran pieces and as some of these South American youngsters get brought into the fold, right? Like what's going to happen to the academy players that have been such a big talking point and such a positive for Inter Miami in a season that has been rough to this point in the year?
They have to take a step back, and that's no problem for them. That should be no problem for them. I mean, if we're completely honest here, all of the youngsters that have been able to start for Inter Miami early this year, that's everything happened way too fast for them. It's not that easy. You don't play a year or two and then you're a starter in the first team. It's not that. That's not the way it goes. They were in the right place at the right time, and like for Cremachi and Ruiz, several injuries happened for them to get an opportunity, and they did well, which is something that we should recognize, and it's a good sign for them moving forward. But if they don't play as much in the rest of the year, they need to be doing the work in training. That's the most important thing for them. They need to continue to grow in training. And if the team wants to win this year, I don't see a way in which Ruiz, Cremachi, even Borgelin, and some of the other guys that Noah Allen, I don't see them as starters or playing big roles. They just need to continue to develop. I think it's way too early for them.
I think the one that you will be off on, and this is not necessarily because I disagree with you, but just from what I've heard in and around Inter Miami, I think Benjamin Cremaschi will continue to play a big role. Maybe a little bit less, but I think he's going to continue to have a big role.
Do you think he will be starting if Coco, if Stefanelli was available, when Facundo becomes available? Do you think there's a spot for Benja in the starting 11? There's no way.
Listen, from what I've heard, Inter Miami is really, really high on Benjamin Cremaschi. Like from within the staff, within the organization, they're very high on him. Very high on him. Whether you agree with that or not, and everyone can have their opinion. I mean, I do. I don't know what yours is, but they're very high on him. And probably higher on him than they are with the other ones. And
that's for sure. I think they have shown
Argentine American. He's Argentine American. He's drawing interest from Europe. You see him. He gets a lot of love on the social media channels and a lot of pictures of him. And they try to make him like he's one of the other ones, but you see that they're trying to push him a little bit more, right? Like how many pictures you see of Noah Allen or David Ruiz? I mean, I think you see Benjamin Cremaschi a little bit more in the spotlight.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So from what I've heard, they're really, really high. Really, really high.
I just don't think he has enough to compete with the other guys.
I mean, I'm curious to see what happens when Diego Gomez is ready to play. I'm curious to see then what happens with Benjamin Cremaschi. But from what I'm hearing, he's going to continue.
There's no shame. There's no shame in Benja, Ruiz, Noah going to the bench. There's just no shame in that. It doesn't mean that they're not going to develop into much better players than what they are right now. I think the start is solid for them. It's a solid start. But, it's when you bring players of Sergio Busquets' caliber, then if you're David Ruiz, you shouldn't feel bad about him coming over and taking your spot in the starting 11. The right approach should be, great, he's here. I'm going to watch him every day. I'm going to train with him every day. I'm going to try to get as close as I can to him, learn from him every single day. And maybe at some point, I can play at his level. That's the best approach. I mean,
absolutely. They're getting a crash course in top quality that other people their age would love to have, would dream to have.
Right.
Now, of course, now it changes a little bit when you've been getting some playing time and you've been in the spotlight and you've scored a goal here and felt that and competed. You want to get back to that, right? Like losing that is definitely not something you want, but it's going to be a natural product of the incoming additions. So I agree with you. They'll take a step back.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter of working your way back up to being in contention for more playing time.
I think this is where, the support system becomes really, really important. The people that you have around you, people around Ruiz, people around Benja, they really should be talking to them and letting them know, listen, this is an opportunity for you. Whether you play 5 minutes on Saturday or you play 60 minutes, whatever happens during the week, that's where you're That's your game. That's where you need to continue to grow. If they have those people with that message around them, they should be fine. But if they have people, telling them you should be starting, I don't know why they're doing this, they're horrible with you, they're treating you wrong, then you're gonna run into trouble, because it's gonna be a very small group of people that will agree with that. I think, as much as everybody likes to see youngsters on the field, and especially academy players, I think it's long term for them. It's long term. It's not about making it to the playoffs this year. It's about developing. It's about becoming a better player.
Los entornos son importantes.
Yeah.
Los entornos son bastante importantes. The inner circles and everyone's close-knit group. Their inner circles, that's very important, and how they help manage the careers and the highs and lows. This is an interesting question from Cada. And he says, "Y Harvey pa fuera?" ? So, I mean, I think it's a fair question, and I think it hasn't been talked about, just generally speaking, enough. And I get why some people would steer clear of the topic, because Harvey Neville is Phil Neville's son, right? But Harvey Neville is still a player on this roster. He's still a first-team player. He's a professional player. It's a fair talking point to say, look, he hasn't gotten much playing time since the coaching change happened. The fact that you saw Israel Boatwright get minutes over him in a recent MLS match, when Israel Boatwright doesn't have an MLS contract, I think that says a lot about where Harvey stands in the pecking order at right back under this group, under this technical staff. I mean, what does the future hold for him? I don't know if it's in South Florida, but I mean, he could also be dealing with the emotions of, his dad being let go. I mean, it's not just always about the X's and O's and the soccer or the football. There's also emotions behind it. I like to say, when I debate with people, these aren't video game characters. These are real people with emotions, stresses. So maybe that there's something at play here. But I think when you see Israel Boatwright get into a game and Harvey Neville does it when they're both on the bench and both options, I think that says a lot about where his standing is. So I don't know if he has much of a future here with the team.
Well, it's a very difficult situation for him. Honestly, obviously he's a professional, but it's his dad. I mean, it's extremely, extremely rare. And with the way everything happened, Phil getting fired 5 days before they announced Messi, or Messi made an announcement. Hearing comments from his teammates about his dad, go back to Pizarro, what he said, and who knows what else he heard on the locker room. So it's a very difficult situation. So I'm not surprised that he's not playing. I would just like to have a little bit of more clarity as to what's going through his mind at this point. Because obviously, he wants to continue to play. It's not a situation where, okay, my dad is gone, so I'm just going to leave the team. No, I mean, he's Harvey. He's not Phil. So he still has an opportunity here. But, it's just really unfortunate. And I guess this is the reason why, whenever you have a coach and a son in the same team, these are one of the things that you get concerned by. What if everything goes wrong? Then who's going to get the worst part? And I think Harvey's getting the worst part at this point.
So let's talk about one more player before we wrap up, because we're heading close to the hour mark, which I've enjoyed this, gotten a lot more in the flow of it than I felt in the beginning, which I like. So I imagine with more reps, this will get easier and a little more fun for me, but this is a new experience. But let's talk about Josef Martinez a little bit more, because he is a player who has history with Orlando City from his days with Atlanta United, and he's been a common terror for them, a common nightmare. I asked him last week, before we knew who was playing or who Inter Miami was playing in this round of 32 knockout match, what he would think about potentially playing Orlando City, because it was a possibility then. We knew it was one of the three options Inter Miami, or one of the three opponents Inter Miami could have. So this is what Josef Martinez said. Again, it's in Spanish. It's pretty brief, so we'll translate directly here. But this is what Josef Martinez said last week after the win against Atlanta United about playing Orlando City.
Se puede dar Orlando en la próxima ronda. Se puede dar Orlando.
Me gustaría. ¿Cómo estás? Hola, papá.
So nice and short and sweet. He says, "Sí, me gustaría," with a big smile on his face, which means, yes, I would like that. So Josef Martinez got his wish. He hasn't scored yet in these 2 games that he's played alongside Messi. And listen, he came off the bench with Messi against Cruz Azul. He started with Messi in the game against Atlanta United. Clearly, he is the preferred option to play alongside Messi. I think that's obvious. I think you agree with that. So I think he starts tomorrow. Does he score? That's the question. Does Josef Martinez get on the scoreboard against a team he has history with? Another start for him. Is he due for one? Is it going to happen for him tomorrow against his arch nemesis from many years ago?
I'm going to say yes. I think he scores.
And you're like smiling. Why are you smiling? Why are you?
Because I've been critical. I've been critical of Josef. I think we all have, Yeah. And I think we're right on being critical. I think he's not performing. And I think Campana should play. But knowing that is not going to happen and that Tata will play Josef, I think Messi will find a way to make it happen.
I
don't think it's going to be. Yes. I don't think it's going to be mainly because of Josef, but I think it's going to be Messi finding a way to get him involved. So I don't think he'll give a penalty to him though, or a free kick. But I think he'll feed him a ball, right place, right time, and Josef will tap it in, and then he'll get on the board. I think he'll score tomorrow.
I think Josef Martinez scores tomorrow. I think it's just written in the stars, man. I think he's due for one, playing alongside Messi. He'll have a chance at some point, and I think like you said, he'll put it away. I think it's just going to work out that way. Sometimes the stories write themselves, and I think tomorrow that storyline will write itself for Josef Martinez. Maybe he has a big game. Maybe he has more than one goal. But depends. We'll see. We'll see what Josef Martinez shows up as well, because a lot of this year you've seen, I won't say an inactive Josef Martinez, but not as dangerous, not as lethal of a Josef Martinez. So yeah. I know Simon on the podcast last week was saying, that it's not his role to score and he's playing a different type of role, which I don't agree with, especially as a striker. Listen, if you're any one of the forward players, whether you're playing 2 strikers, whether you're 1 striker, whether you have wingers, if you're any of those frontline players, you're tasked with creating goals, either scoring them or assisting on them, right? Like that's what your production is based off of. You might have other roles and responsibilities, and you might need to track back, and you might need to do this and that and that and this. But you're there to help put the ball in the back of the net. So that's what you will be judged off of ultimately. And Josef Martinez hasn't been great at that this year. Now, we don't have that clip, or we don't have to share it here with you guys, but he did say last week in post-game interviews after beating Atlanta United that, the difference is now that the ball is getting to him, whereas before it wasn't getting to him. And I don't know if I really agree with that, because there were times earlier in the season where he had really good looks, and he didn't put them away. And I don't think with Messi and Busquets, he's had that many clear-cut opportunities. I remember one against Cruz Azul that he shot, or maybe it was against Atlanta United. Actually, one against Atlanta United, they shot high and wide on the left in the first half. And then he did have one in the second half where he selflessly passed to Robert Taylor for what could have been Robert Taylor's hat trick. And Robert Taylor shot it left-footed too close to the middle, and the goalkeeper made the save. So no Robert Taylor hat trick. Would have been an assist for Josef there. But I don't think he's had that much service. And where before he was getting a little bit maybe more service because he was seeing more of the ball, because there wasn't a creative force like Messi in there, but he wasn't finishing. All that to be said, I think he scores tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he gets on the board. I don't think he'll score. I don't think he's going to get into a good run and score consistently for the team. But, tomorrow it's Orlando. Yeah, I can see him scoring.
Broward Heron says, I'm begging Tata to give Campana a chance with Messi. This Josef bias is killing me as an Ecuadorian.
Broward Heron, I am with you, my friend. Yes.
Although Jose is not Ecuadorian. Jose is
No, I'm not Ecuadorian. I'm Catracho.
Catracho, a proud Honduran. All right, Jose. Anything else you want to add? Do you want to talk about ticket sales or ticket prices again? Because I thought they were going down. Now they're back to like $200 before this midweek match. I mean, I thought they were going to make progress in terms of reducing prices, and then it's skyrocketed right back up.
Well, maybe that's high demand. I think we have to go back and check the prices. When the tickets initially came out. Resale prices can be a little bit tricky. Wait, am I listening? Kenwin Jones? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We got a Kenwin Jones reference in the.
That's good. That's
a throwback, man. That's a throwback.
Yeah, that's a throwback. I like that.
I don't know if everyone in the comment section knows who that is. That's a blast from the past.
Kenwin Jones. Yes, solid player. Crazy, but solid. So yeah, tickets, a concerning situation. Inter Miami went to just over 20,000 in the Cruz Azul game to just over 19,000 in the Atlanta United game. You don't want that number going lower and lower and lower. But if they don't want that to happen, again, just like I said, last week, it's an easy fix. Just, lower the prices. It's cheaper to go and watch Real Madrid Juve than watch Inter Miami Orlando City tomorrow, which is crazy.
Which is wild, right? It's wild. Hopefully, look, we gotta says Franco, I bought my tickets at 10 a.m., $60 before fees before Rival was confirmed.
Well, that was good. That's a smart.
Made out like a bandit. But yeah, once the Rival was confirmed and there was less days in between, those tickets have gone through the roof. And I think this is just the Inter Miami tickets, not even the resale tickets. I think people are trying to just sell the tickets they bought at face value just to not lose money here because tickets are incredibly high. I mean, how could you go to all these games at these prices unless you're very well off? I mean, and you maybe don't have a family or you do have a family. I don't know, man. We talked about it in the last pod. We don't have to keep diving into it here, but it's a little mind-boggling that the prices are continuously high, that they've gone back up when it looked like they were going the other way.
I'm guessing that will change when we go back to MLS play.
Maybe there's not that many games left in the regular season, and all the away games they're charging crazy prices because it's the one time Messi's coming to town.
But the away games are different, though. I've read something about Chicago Fire. Having their ticket prices are as well higher than what they're used to for the Messi game. And then again, I keep telling people about the last game of the season in Charlotte. Don't buy those tickets. I mean, if Inter Miami is not in contention, I just don't see Messi playing that game. So it's a high risk.
Let's start wrapping up here, but
yeah, let's go home.
But we are home. You're home, and I'm home. What are you talking about? You're telling me that if that game matters.
No, if it doesn't matter. If it matters, he plays.
Of course. But if it does matter, he's playing.
Yes.
Turf or no turf, he's playing, right?
Yes.
So, I mean,
if it doesn't, he's not.
True. That's true. I agree.
So at this point, most likely, it's not going to matter.
I don't know.
One thing is Leagues Cup, and it's going to be different when you go on the road.
Weren't you and Andrea's not here? Weren't you and Andrea the ones, and listeners and viewers and everyone here can back me up on this? Weren't you and Andrea the ones raving about the Liga MX level and how it was going to be a higher level than what Inter Miami gets in MLS?
Did you see what happened with Cruz Azul? Cruz Azul play at a much higher level than Atlanta did.
Sure, but you're saying there's like no chance for them to, dominate through MLS. Listen, I was skeptical of them being able to get, I think the math that I did was.
So you think Inter Miami will make the playoffs?
No, Host is always going too far. Always going.
That's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, they're not making the playoffs.
Okay, so you're saying it right there and there in front of everyone
right now.
Here, on the
they're not making
first
the playoffs.
No. Football radio TV show.
No chance.
Okay, no chance they make the playoffs.
Zero chance of making the playoffs.
All right, you guys heard it here. I'm going to clip this, and we're going to put it on social media so that at the end of the season, you may have to eat your words. I won't say there's a high chance, But when you see how they dominate Atlanta United,
Messi's leaving, right, in September.
that's fine. That's what,
I'm just telling you.
1-2 games.
Okay.
Listen,
Do you think they can afford to lose 2 games?
who said they're going to lose those games? They still have Busquets.
I mean, come on now.
No,
if they don't have Messi or Busquets, they go back to being the same team that we had before.
Is Spain going to call up Busquets and be like, "Hey, we need you for this window"? Come on, man.
If
Messi, yes. Busquets, he might still be around, and with him and Jordi Alba, Jordi probably would get called up, but we'll see. We still haven't seen. We haven't seen some of the young guys. We haven't seen some of the young guys. We got to see some of the young guys and how they integrate to the group and what they bring and what they add to the team. You also at that point might have Gregory back. I saw a comment about Gregory and what's the latest with him. Listen, Gregory is making his way back. We saw him today again with the trainer out on the field doing some running. So he's closing in on his return. Jean Mota apparently is not too far behind either. So, Jose.
So they are making the playoffs.
That's not what I'm saying.
You said it. They are making the playoffs.
It's not what I'm saying.
2023, sitting in last place, they will make the playoffs, according to Franco Panizo.
You got to share this one with Andrea from Cada. He says, facts, Andrea didn't respond to the tweet. She actually did. She quote tweeted it, but she didn't respond directly. She kind of took it and did her own thing with it. But anyway. All right, we'll see. I'm not saying they're making the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to make it, but I think they have a much better chance than I would have given them a month.
You're backing up now. Okay, that's fine.
I think they have more of a chance. Now. But
Zero chance.
Let's leave it there for this first Miami Total Football Radio /TV/show. I don't know. We might have to rename this. I don't know if we can name it.
No, it's still gonna be radio, right? You're gonna upload it to all the platforms. So
yeah, but if people are watching us, are we still radio?
Yeah. Well, let's have people decide.
It could be Miami Total Football Show. I know I would miss the rolling of the R's. I would miss that staple. It has been around since 2020.
No, you gotta keep
Absolutely. You gotta figure something out. This is all a work in progress. This is all.
But after a good start, I think.
I hope that the people that tuned in and I hope the people that watch this were entertained as well as they were informed a little bit. We will get better, I promise. As time goes along, as we get more used to it, as I get more used to this whole thing. This is a brand new experience and venture for me. Jose is a little bit more used to it. Look, he's got the background all pretty. He's framed. I'm still working on all of it. So bear with us. I'm still trying to figure out my situation. I bought this light thing here really quickly, and I'll show you guys. I don't even know how to turn this thing on. Oh, it's blue, so it doesn't even work. It's not even like what. So I look like an avatar or a Smurf. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna have no light here. We're gonna have no light. So, but I do really appreciate, and Kyle just mentioned it here in the comment section. I do really appreciate, and of course, thank you guys for listening, tuning in, watching. And I like that we can interact with you guys. That's something that we couldn't do
that's awesome.
On Miami Total Football Radio because we recorded it and it was done off air, right? It wasn't live. So the fact that we are able to do that is awesome, and I really enjoy that aspect of it. Again, I'll try to get better at clicking on the comments and running through them while also staying focused on Jose. It'll help once we have more of the team in as well because we'll have more people talking.
Yeah, we need to have El Primo back for at least one more time with video now. We need to have Tamer, of course, and Andrea. People have been waiting for her.
We're going to try to get them on Thursday. So that this was announced today on Twitter, but I didn't, again, brand new to this, didn't really know how to set it up to have it showing on YouTube to give you the notice that, hey, we're going on live at this time. But now I know how to do that. So for Thursday, I don't know the time just yet because it depends on my co-hosts' schedules. But Thursday night we will have a show, and we will happen on Thursday. Rewind and analyze what takes place tomorrow night at DraftKings Stadium between Inter Miami and Orlando City in the Sunshine Clasico, El Clasico del Sol. Definitely not the Turnpike, whatever you called it earlier. But all right, let's leave it there for now. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys. We will get better as this venture goes on. But we'll wish you a good night, and we'll talk to you guys soon.